So we have some MMA fights coming up in the UFC, and they're gonna be coming up tonight. Like I'm gonna be watching the fights tonight, and you see the thing about the UFC is I pretty much gamble on every card in the UFC. Pretty much every single card. I gamble a lot. But let's move on. Let's look at this card real quick. Let's break it down for you casuals out there. And let me just tell you guys if it's worth watching. Now, the main event's going to be Sean Strickland versus Nassourdine Imavov. Now, if you break down that fight, breaking that fight down to a T, Sean Strickland never shoots takedowns. Ever. He's never shot a takedown ever in his life. He probably has shot a few takedowns, maybe here and there. But this fight's not going to be... It's going to be standing up for Strickland. But Imavov is going to take him down, probably. But Imavov is actually a very versatile fighter. You know, he can fight stand-up. He can fight on the ground. He can fight wrestling. He has very good jiu-jitsu. Not as good at jiu-jitsu as Gilbert Burns or any of these kind of guys, but pretty good. Pretty decent jiu-jitsu. Which was evident in the fight with Joaquin Buckley when he took him down multiple times, went to mount, passed from side control. He almost finished him with a rear naked choke in the second round too. So he does have some good rear naked choke abilities. He has some good submission abilities. He's got some good ground fighting. But how many times has Sean Strickland been taken down? Sean Strickland has fought some grapplers, such as Jack Hermanson. He beat Jack Hermanson with his jab by staying on the outside and avoiding the movement of a Jack Hermanson and avoiding the clinch takedowns along the cage and avoiding staying his back against the cage. That's something that Imavov has to avoid. And we also have to take into account that Sean Strickland is taking this fight on a couple days notice. So who knows how well he trained for that fight. And he is coming off a fight against Jared Cannonier. Even though he didn't take that much damage against Jared Cannonier, and he was relatively okay after the fight, he still had to train for that fight. So each training camp, guys, for all of you guys out there that don't know, a training camp takes a lot out of a fighter. Like, it takes a lot of steam out of a fighter. It takes a lot of energy out of a fighter. It also takes a lot of money away from a fighter, because these camps cost a lot of money, because you got to bring in these... Because when you're fighting a kickboxer, you got to bring in kickboxers from other sides of the world. You got to bring in elite boxers, elite wrestlers, elite jiu-jitsu specialists. Well, it depends on the kind of guy that you're fighting. With Sean Strickland, how much has he had to prepare for this fight? Pretty much almost nothing. So we are counting on him to be able to win this fight based on the fact that he was in shape for the Jared Cannonier fight, and that's not really too far away, so maybe he's still in shape. Who knows, man? And the fight's at light heavyweight too, so that's also another interesting factor. Both guys are going to be bigger. Sean Strickland's going to be big too, but he didn't have to cut weight that much. He didn't really have to cut all that weight, so... Yeah, I mean... And if you look at the weigh-ins, Sean Strickland weighed in at 204, I believe. MMA Fighting posted a picture on Instagram, which said that he was weighing at 204. And then if you compare that to Nassourdine Imavov, he's weighing at 195, right? So there's a size difference. Sean's taking this on short notice, so how fast is he going to gas out in that fight? Because this is a 5-round fight. Now, because I'm a betting man, I'm going to put my money on Nassourdine Imavov. Nassourdine Imavov is the person I think that's going to win that fight. Now let's look at the betting odds for this fight. Let's see the betting odds for this fight. It's a pick'em. It's a pick'em. It's a pick'em. What? Really? A pick'em? Minus 110 for Nassourdine Imavov and minus 110 for Sean Strickland. Imavov is a slight favorite. Well, it's not even a favorite. That's a pick'em. There's no favorite or underdog. It's a pick'em fight. There's no underdog or favorite. It's a pick'em fight. It's literally a pick'em. There's no what. And then the Ketlen Vieira and Raquel Pennington fight. Well, Ketlen Vieira is a grappler slash striker. She's primarily a grappler. She's evolved her game to be able to strike now. She's not as good as strike. She's not an elite striker. Her bread and butter is her grappling. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Ketlen Vieira minus 130, Raquel Pennington plus 110. If I was going to put money on either fighter, that's a tough one. That's a tough one because how many paths does Ketlen Vieira have to winning this fight? I don't think she's going to knock her out. She could submit her, and she could win by decision. So, Ketlen Vieira has two paths to victory here. Submission or decision. Raquel Pennington has possibly a submission, which is a long shot. That's not really one of her paths. She could knock her out, but how many times has Ketlen been knocked out? She's been knocked out by that other gun, Irina Aldana, but Irina Aldana is a specialist in the striking department. It's a tough one. I don't know. Like, I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, damn, those odds are pretty close for a reason, right? Because there's not really too much to separate these two fighters. Now, Ketlen Vieira doesn't really have a very heavy wrestling-based style, so how do I know that she's going to be able to take this fight to the ground? I don't. That's what makes this fight so intriguing. If I had to pick Raquel or Ketlen Vieira, I'm slightly leaning towards Raquel, even though Ketlen could win that fight, but I don't see the wrestling there. I'm picking Raquel in that fight. Yeah. Even though Ketlen could probably win too. So, I don't know. This is a pick that's kind of versed in the fact that I think the fight's going to be a stand-up fight. I don't think Ketlen's going to take the fight to the ground. She had a big problems taking Holly to the ground when she couldn't take Holly to the ground. So Raquel seems like the better option. Now, if you were to compare Raquel's attributes to Holly's attributes, does Holly Holm have better takedown defense than Raquel Pennington? Holly has some good, pretty damn good takedown defense. Pretty damn good takedown defense. But yeah, I'm picking Raquel. I'm picking Nassourdine Imavov. Danny Damon Jackson. I don't really know too much about either fighter, so I'm gonna skip that one. Soriano and Roman Kopylov. I don't know. I don't know who. Honestly, I don't know who wins that fight. There's not too many fighters that I really know inside out like a book. I know Imavov pretty well and Strickland pretty well. I would pick Imavov by decision. Imavov by decision seems like the best bet. Submission, I don't know. I don't think so. Knockout, could knock him out. That's possible. So knockout or decision for Imavov. And then Strickland, what do you think? How many paths to victory do you think he has here? He's taking this fight on short notice. He's coming off of 2 losses. I don't see it. It doesn't speak to me. Why should I pick Sean Strickland to win this fight? It makes no sense. Even though he's going to be bigger and stronger at light heavyweight, but so is Imavov. But Imavov was cutting down to 185 and he didn't have to cut the extra weight. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. We'll see what happens. And I'm out. Peace.